Hi there, it's Bae G, and we're going to continue the demonstration videos for Javier Rollón's Jetstream 32 and the interactive checklists using the checklister plugin by snailpup. So we're ready to go in the aircraft. I've climbed in and I've fired up the very first checklist from the series of checklists that you can go through from the checklister menu. So I've started off at aircraft acceptance, which is here. And we're just going to kind of whiz through these first ones here. We're just going to assume that we've done the maintenance status, we've checked the safety equipment, we've got our documentation in order, and we've got all our charts that we need for the flight. So we are good to go on the paperwork front, and we're now going to click next to jump to the first of the kind of real checklists where we need to do things with the switches and dials and so on. So, right, without further ado, pre-flight, page 1 of 2. I need to set the chocks, so as you all are aware, we can set the chocks here, and by setting the chocks, the tick has appeared automatically, courtesy of our friend Hector here, and that's denoted by the asterisk we have on the left hand side that shows the automatic detection based on the data refs that we're interrogating. Okay, so the chocks are set. And the control locks, I know that's been a bit of a bone of contention, that's why I've put it there first. I'm just going to verify that they are indeed up. I wouldn't check this every time, but it's just to show you that that's how it's working. So we agree with this, we can move on. And now we have a section for the de-ice switches. I've got one in here for the filament dim switch where I need to choose the appropriate setting. It's daytime at the minute, so I'm going to choose the day setting. And I'm now going to tell the checklist I've dealt with that. So just by way of an example here, I'm going to remove the yoke and show you all the other ice protection switches that are currently in the off position, which is why these are already lit. So let's go on to page 2, and the doors need to be closed. So sure enough, the door is open. I'm going to close the door, and while I'm at it, close this one as well. Okay, that's the pre-flight checklist completed. Moving on. I am going to confirm that either myself or Hector has completed the walk around, and the cabin door is secure. Parking brake is set, and again, we don't need to check this all the time, but just to show you, we're going to go through the lights. Beacons are off, navigation's off, strobe is off, ice observation lights off, left landing light is off, right landing light is off, and the passenger signs are off as well, seatbelts and smoking sign. Page 2, you're starting to get the idea now. Main avionics off, non-essentials, generators are off, SRL computers off, TTL computers off. Ignitions, normal. AC transfer switch, normal. Left firewall lever is off, so is the right one. Electric smart start emergency is set to normal. Left power lever is more or less idle. But look, we have something that we need to be aware of now. I'm running the 103 build of the Jetstream here, but as you can quite clearly see, my condition levers are in flight. So I'm going to set those to the down position to where they need to be, and then I'm going to pull my power levers to idle. If I pull them all the way now, they would have gone into the reverse mode. So I'm going to pull them back, and as I do, you can see that they lock into position, and the checklist agrees with me, and more importantly, so does Hector. Okay, moving on. Next page. Crossfeed is shut. Fuel quantity, check, looks good. Cooler flaps for the oil, by default they're in the open position. I'm going to set those to auto. Again, I believe this is a contributing issue to some problems that people have been having. Battery, okay, so I could do the internal battery or I could set the ground power unit. So I'm going to set ground power, because then there's more to do. So there's the GPU. There he is, outside, ready to go. And I'm going to set ground power on the battery. Now I'm going to test the annunciators. So as you can see here, I'm already starting to get right into the rhythm of it without necessarily needing to explain to you what I'm doing, because you've done this a lot of times already and I'm no good at telling you how to do this yourselves, but you do start to get into the swing of it very quickly once you start to know where the switches are and how the flows work. Okay, beacons on, emergency lights on, air conditioning. Being in Jersey at the minute, recently I've flown a few flights with real weather and I've had some icing problems, so at the moment I'm in a bit of a habit of putting the aircon on and set to demist, so that I don't kind of fog up my windows and things like that. And I've snuck in a starting your XA cars client as well, if that's applicable for people using the checklist. So there we go, and that is now the before engine start checklist completed. Hopefully pretty easy. Okay, moving on. For this particular video I'm just going to do the standard automatic engine start. There are full checklists for both the left and right manual engine starts, which are a lot of fun once you get into the swing of it, but it can be a little bit frustrating. You do have to be very accurate with your timings, and that's all I'll say. Okay, right, let's go with the automatic engine start. So, battery is already in the ground position, in fact it's on ground, beacons are already on, voltmeter minimum 24 volts, we're happy with that, passenger signs are on. So propeller area clear. Well, we're obviously not going to start the propeller on the left hand side for obvious reasons, so we'll just check that on the right, we're happy there. Air ground switches, well, we're on the ground and by default they're on the ground, but it's not something I've put any automatic detection in there for, because you have a choice, so I've left that manually. Excuse me, it's a manual setting for you to figure out what you want to do. Okay, next. So we're going to start the right engine first, and you can see here the right generator is already off, and we know that, and it's asking us to do a reset on the generator first. So as you'll see here, when I click the reset button, the reset tick lights up to confirm that I have got the right generator in the reset position, but when I let go, the reset will cancel and we're back in the off position. So you get kind of a double confirmation that it's doing the right thing. Left gen's off, we're happy with that. Ignitions are on normal, so now we can start the SRL computers. Go to the next page and do the low pressure cogs. Left hydraulics, left fuel, right hydraulics, right fuel. And we'll do the right boost pump. Put my right condition lever to taxi. And we'll check that our right fuel pressure is good. Again, that's a manual check. Now we're ready to start the engine. So just select the engine first and then hit the starter. So at this point we need to be monitoring our instruments. We need to make sure the EGT doesn't rise anywhere past 650 degrees, and we want to make sure we get a minimum of 50% RPM. It's a bit hasty on that one. Okay, we're good there. And we can see that as we've got a good light on the engine, the bus tie reset light has, or the warning has kicked in, so that's encouraging. We can now turn the right generator on, change the AC control to transfer, reset, bus tie, and we have a good start here. What I want to do though at this point is switch the battery over to internal, which allows me to then remove the GPU and confirm, let's see, I missed that, confirm the GPU is gone, and I'll do it, I've put in a second check to make sure that the propeller area is clear on the left hand side as well. Let's not just simply assume that's the case. Okay, we're now on the left side, so left generator, resets, left boost pump, left condition lever, left fuel pressure, left engine selector, and left start. Again, check the EGT, check the RPM, pressure and temperature of the oil. Okay, 50% RPM. EGT is good. Bus toe warning's back on. Left gen on. Bus toe resets. AC transfer switch. Back to normal. And we have automatic start, or automatic engine start checklist completed. Great. Okay. So we are now ready for the after start checklist. We can go ahead and do the panel master avionics. Navigation check. So the nav light is not on. Switch them on, and I'm going to check. They're good. Stall protection. De-ice as required. So it's weather's not too bad today, so I'm not going to do any ice protection on the airframe or the propeller or the engines, but we are going to warm up the windshields and put the pitos on. Okay, radios as required. I'm not going to do anything with the radios in this video, and I am going to set the trim, the elevator trim, and I'm going to set some flaps. Excellent. SRL computers are already on. I'm not even going to look up because I'm starting to trust what's going on here. TTL computers, and I'm going to have those on. Cabin pressure as required. Okay, let's get that up to over here. Get a little bit there in the cabin. Okay, and then last but not least, turn the fuel boost pumps off. And there we go, that's the after start checklist completed. So, engine started. Aircraft's pretty good position, and we're ready to taxi. So as I say, they're very informal. This is more about the checklist than any any particular demonstration of airmanship or lack of same. So let's proceed. So in the taxi checklist, we are going to take the chocks off. We are going to take the control locks down. Check flight controls. Free. Pretty good. Okay, taxi lights. It's coming on. Altimeters. We're at 2992. That's fine for what we're going to do. Put the yaw damper on. Transponder, we might as well set that. Parking brake is off, and that's the taxi checklist completed. So let's get ourselves underway. I'm going to try and do a cheeky little 90-degree turn here. Okay, so we're going to be taking off on runway 9. So we're going to take off and do a nice leisurely left-hand turn towards Guernsey, and come back and land on the same runway. I'm just going to go through the before takeoff checklist now, whilst we hold here. Set the parking brake, check my flight instruments, make sure I'm pretty happy with those. So let's have a quick scan. Okay, fuel quantity is still good. Engine firewalls are good. Trims are good. Engine instruments good. Power lever to idle, which is good. Pitot heat as required. De-ice. And we're happy with the avionics. Not doing anything with the weather radar. Okay, so just imagine we've been given our clearance for takeoff here. So we've got our strobes on. Landing lights. Put the transponder on. Flaps for takeoff, which they are. TTL is required, I've just double checked them. Propeller synchro on. And take the parking brake off. Put my condition levers up to flight now. And that's step 4, takeoff checklist completed. Okay, so props are starting to bite. RPM's rising, and we are now proceeding onto the runway. Okay, coming up on the hold short line. Approach is clear. Before we take off, we'll do a final check for the takeoff checklist. Flaps are at takeoff. I'm not going to do anything with toga for the moment. I'm not going to turn on the autopilot servos, and a quick check of the annunciators. We are happy with the takeoff checklist. And we're ready to go.